Hey everybody, and welcome back to 90's horror films. I'm your host, Jonathan Moody. I've got my co-host.
Maddie Deering, Madeline,
Yes, also.
whatever you want to call me. I thought you were going to introduce me. I don't
I
remember.
sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I'm very
Maybe should have
yeah.
planned this.
I know we didn't plan it out. I didn't tell you I was going to do that, but you should be like ready. You're ready to answer your name. Anyway, we're gonna. This is the season finale. I'm excited. I'm happy that we did. Wow. And before we get into the season finale and what it is all about, I just want to thank you, Maddie, for coming on because originally I was the just a host, and I'd have special guests and stuff, and then I was the now I'm now I've got a co-host here. So this is awesome. It's a little
Hey,
different now, which is awesome because you're introducing me to shit I've never seen before and whatnot.
literal or good shit or middle of the road shit.
I don't I don't think we've had middle of the road shit from you. Like we had what Mirror Mirror, we had
Yeah,
the dentist. What else did you do this
Granny.
season?
I feel
What?
like it was the granny.
The granny.
That's what
So, yeah. So there you go. And I think it was that it.
I guess. That's all
Yeah,
I can think.
because I think you started off later in the season as my
Wait,
co-host. So that was the problem. Because like usually, if you start at the beginning, we would have a lot more, which you will in the next season. You'll have a lot more.
I'm already thinking ahead.
I know you already told me one that you plan for our next one. So, get ready.
Next,
She's opening the next season, which will start in January. But we'll get more into that after this episode. But I just wanted to kind of thank you for coming on and co-hosting this. This was a lot of fun, and everything, and I'm enjoying it. So we are going to talk about Bride of Chucky, the what is it fourth movie in the Child's Play series franchise, and uh and it was the first one to introduce us to Tiffany, so that was fun, you know. And I have not, like, I did not rewatch this today. I saw it like I think a couple weeks ago or so, and so it's still pretty fresh on my mind. But if there's anything I forget or something, just let me know. While I chat about it. I don't know when the last time I don't know if you just rewatched it yourself.
I was kind of rewatching it. I've seen it many, many, many times. But yeah, I just kind of rewatched it between yesterday.
So, so basically, how would you describe this movie?
What do you mean? How
Like,
how do I
yeah, yeah, like what's the movie about?
Well, there's this ex or a girlfriend or whatever you want to claim
Former
it.
girlfriend? I think
Girlfriend,
did
ex,
she
same thing, right? I don't know. Or
did
former.
she die or no, did he die like while they were still together?
Ugh, I'm not 100% sure.
I'm not sure either. I don't know if they broke up and no, I'm guessing they were still together because like she brought him back to be with him again and stuff. So,
Pays a guy who works at a police station to bring the Chucky doll, and at the beginning you got really cool, and I was really noticing it this time. Like I think you can even see like the Freddy glove like things, and I think I saw it. But things in like the storage locker or whatever, what is it, evidence locker, stuff like that, or like a knockoff Jason mask, shit like that. So it was kind of cool,
nice.
kind of like a shared universe. But she pays this guy who works there to bring her a doll, obviously the Chucky doll, um,
Hmm.
and she gets the doll, kills the guy, which is not really a spoiler, and brings it back to life. You know, Charles Lee Ray, and she's Charles Lee Ray's former girlfriend, we'll say, instead of ex. And
Hmm.
yeah, they she brings him back to life, and then they kind of have their quarrels, like fights and stuff, and she realizes Charles was never going to propose like she thought, and
Well, before that, I do want to mention I love seeing Alexis
Arquette.
um Arquette in the movie. And
Yeah.
for him to because I don't know, was he trans or was he just a cross dresser?
I think at that time, Cross.
Cross dresser. I
Trent
don't what was that?
still, they were completely out yet, but I was lazy and didn't put in my fancy Blu-ray in my box set and watched it on Peacock. And the name comes up Alexis Arquette, unless they change that later on. So I don't know.
Yeah. So there you go. So yeah, so but he was as like, a boy, or whatever. He was a goth kind of guy or what like a wannabe goth because he wouldn't even like he wasn't very scary. He was just kind of like guess,
I
what?
a poser.
Poser. Oh, he was a poser. He pretended like he killed somebody.
Yeah,
That
left
was
the key
sad.
little death or
Mm.
whatever.
And then he got his little death, you know.
Yeah, great death. This movie has a lot of great.
Yeah. So yeah, so go back. So yeah, she decides she realizes he's not gonna actually marry her. And then what did she do to him?
She brings him a bride, which is, I mean, just another doll with a wedding dress on. And, Chucky's like, well, fuck you. I get my revenge. And he kills Tiffany and puts her soul in the doll. And
Well,
they
I
have
remember she put him in like a cage, right? A little
to see, I'm getting ahead of myself.
Yeah, he put him in a little cage and he was fucking pissed.
Well, yeah. And he uses the ring to break out,
Hmm.
uh, rubbing it against the whatever wood.
Yep. And so then yes, so he breaks out and then he goes, she's watching what is it, like
Bride of
the
Frankenstein.
news or something? Or
Bride of Frankenstein.
Bride of
Oh.
Frankenstein, that's right. So the Bride of Frankenstein, which sets up for the fact that she becomes the Bride of Chucky.
Yeah, and
Uh,
after he kills her, he transfers his soul in the doll, and they have to work together to get that amulet off of his dead body buried in Hackensack, New Jersey. Um, that's the only way I think they can get human bodies. Yeah. And there's also a couple, John Ritter. Rest in peace.
oh, John Ritter. I miss John Ritter.
I always like that. Plays like the asshole dad, and there's a young couple, and he doesn't like his daughter, Katherine Heigl.
It's not daughter, it's his niece, I think.
Oh,
I think
you're right.
because his I guess either his sister or his brother died. Both the family members died, and she was like left in his custody. And he's like what, the sheriff or something? Like,
And he's got his deputies paying him extra to try to keep the two main lovers apart.
mhm. And
Keep,
then what?
keeping an eye on him.
Yeah. So then they in the meantime, now I was like watching it going because this was my first time watching it, which a lot of people are like, "Oh my God, your first time watching Bride of Chucky? That's crazy." But
Chucky before.
what?
I'd never seen this before.
Not before the couple weeks ago.
Shit.
And you didn't know that? I thought I told you that.
Well, I think you did tell me that. I think I just forgot.
Yeah, it was my first time. But the first thought in my head when I saw him kill Tiffany was like, "You're why are you doing that? You could use a human help." You know, like but that becomes the problem is like he didn't think it through. He just wanted to kill her because, that's what Chucky does.
Her to have to help him because he says like, "Oh, you're stuck like this unless you help me. You need me. Otherwise,
It's
I don't think you
true.
help him."
Yeah, she probably wouldn't have helped him if she was human, like normal human size and everything. So you're right. You're right. Now she's like, fuck, now I gotta get out of this. So if I have to get out of this, I gotta help you get out of this. And so they gotta work together. And they call John Ritter's girlfriend's boyfriend, or wait, John Ritter's niece's boyfriend. There we go. And played by it was Katherine Heigl and
I think it was.
who's the guy? Do you remember?
Oh, I can't remember his name.
Yeah, he's been in stuff. Like he was a big time actor. Nick Stabile.
Recognize that name. I know I've seen him. Stuff. I couldn't.
Yeah, I mean he was on what General Hospital and Sunset Beach. Wow, does a lot of daytime drama type stuff. Um, let's see. Uh, Charmed on an episode. I know the name from something. Oh, he was in Dawson's Creek, so I probably remember that from.
Oh yeah. Was he a main character?
No, he had like one episode, but I think it was not episode like it was the Psychic Friends episode where um they go to like a fair or whatever, I think, or something. Um, let's see. Oh yeah, that's right. They went to a fair and Joey met him, I think. And like there was like a little thing there. Um, yeah. He's one of those actors that constantly was constantly doing stuff. It seems like he stopped in 2016 though, so maybe he needs a new resurgence. He needs to come back out, you know. Bring him back. Or,
Come on, Nick. Come
yeah,
back to
come back to
us.
us. A new Chuck. He should pop up in the Chucky series. I mean, he didn't die, I don't think. You know,
Write it.
like you come back and try to kill Chucky again. You know,
Would be. I mean, why not? I haven't watched Chucky season.
I haven't seen. I started watching the first couple episodes, and then I got sidetracked with like other shows and other stuff. So I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna binge watch season 1 and 2, and then see if I can record on my DVR season 3, you know, when that comes out, just to be able to watch it. And then I'll probably wait. Well, I don't want to wait because everybody fucking spoils everything on freaking Facebook now.
I hate it.
No, it's like, dudes, I haven't seen it. Lay off. Stop spoiling everything. Um, so anyway, um, so the what is it? The characters kind of go, uh, so she pays the guy, or she calls him up. I don't know how they did this exactly, but they somehow were able to get to the phone and dial and listen and hear and do all that stuff. And they let him know like he's got money coming to him. He just needs to, he'll have more money when you know, when they do the stuff. But first, he's got some money. So to go cross country because they have to get what was it like they have to get like a necklace or something like a
Amulet off of it. Charles Lee Ray's dead body.
yeah. He's gotta get an amulet off his dead body, his rotting corpse, you know. And so they like basically skeleton now. He's been dead for so long. It's just I'm surprised it's even still around, or whatever. I don't know how things are with like I guess they get preserved as skeletons when you're dead and buried. So they decide they're gonna do this, and then uh all the while, right before they actually leave, John Ritter stumbles upon their stuff that they don't know, and Chucky and Tiffany are threatened by this. So what do?
Kill him with nails in the head.
Mm. And then do you know what they did? They made a joke. Do you remember the joke?
I was only half watching it, and I can't remember the joke. What the hell was
The joke in that was one of my favorite lines in the movie where he's got the all the nails in the head and he looks over at Tiffany and goes, "Why does this look familiar? Why does it look familiar when they have pins in the head?"
head?
Pinhead. Yes. So not only did they, in the beginning they showed the glove and the thing, they're making references to Ralph, kind of letting people know that this is a universe that exists within like all the
Yeah,
horror stuff, which I think is pretty cool. Like if I think it was Universal that owns this because Peacock does this stuff. So Peacock is run by Universal. So I'm guessing Universal owns, but if Universal eventually owned um Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street or something, or one of the companies owned all of them, they could have a shared universe. And I think I've talked about this on multiple podcasts, but I've been dying for a movie where like it's or just a real series, like not fan film, kind of stuff, which is cool. What?
no, I was just gonna say, yeah, something like official where you have some real creators behind it. Yeah.
The real creators or real horror writers or whatever writing a series that is basically slasher land, where all these slasher people come, and they're all in this same universe and they just happen to always stumble upon, they fight each other all the while trying to kill all the people in town.
It's a shame, Freddy versus Jason versus Ash never got made. That was the comic, and they tried to do so much with that. Connecting the Evil Dead and stuff. Freddy versus Jason is fucking great. Same director, by the way, Ronnie Yu, as Bride of Chucky. I wish they explored that type of stuff more.
Well, I mean, and I think that's really cool that you're right. Yeah, the same one did that, and he had before mentioned Jason and Freddy. So was he foreshadowing his career by doing that? You know,
I never thought about that till now.
neither did I. That's funny. Ronnie Yu. Sadly, Ronnie has not act or directed anything in Hollywood for a while, like or whatever, and
I,
um I think he, if they did create a slasher town or slasher land or whatever movie, I think or TV series, I think he would be perfect for it
what?
because, at least for the pilot, why am I not like producing movies in Hollywood right now? I'd be like, come on, let's make this happen, you know? Where was that?
I just said exactly. Like that's what people would want to see. Everyone's
Yeah,
wanted so long.
for sure. So yeah, so you did the pinhead thing, and then they put him in the. That's the only thing I found to be not realistic. How the hell do they pick him up and put him into the trunk and all that stuff? Like,
You're watching a movie about dolls.
I,
You're
I
worried him put
okay,
him in.
I'm suspending my disbelief enough, but like when I start to like think about that stuff, I'm like, come on now. You know, you got to show me these things. You got to make me believe that this can actually happen. You know, instead they just cut away and then like whatever happened to the body? Oh, it's in the car, but we don't know, or whatever, like just silly to me. Um, and then uh, and then my favorite scene happens. They get pulled over at the or found at the what is it? Basically a gas station slash like
There's food, whatever.
I don't know. There's a lot of stuff. There's like a gas station that there's like the food like place like look like one of those 80 or not 80s, like 50s kind of takeout place, like Sonic, you know?
Yeah, or something like that.
Yeah. So, what is it? So yeah, so basically they're at that place and they get caught. And so now Tiffany and Chucky have to figure out how to get out of this one, without being noticed as being a whatever. And in the process of killing people and blowing shit up, those two humans look like they're the ones doing everything. And on top of that, they've separated at times, so they don't know if one of the other person did it because they don't know that there's fucking talking, walking dolls, behind
They
them.
kind of not trust each other, turn against each other.
Exactly, which I mean, I get it sort of if you don't know, right? Like you don't know whether or not a the other person did it because you weren't there, you know?
Both would have motive. Either one of them.
Yeah. Um, well, I mean they would, but they wouldn't. Like why would they murder somebody, like that bad?
That situation, who the hell do you think would have done it? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, they didn't, yeah, and they didn't, once again, they didn't know the dolls were alive. They thought the dolls were dolls, which when I met Chucky, when I saw I have a picture of me with the little Chucky, you know, um, I was pretty sure that was a doll. I hope so. I hope he didn't run around
Right.
the horror convention killing people.
You never know.
You don't. I remember. So my friend has a Chucky doll, and we were at the horror convention. I met him at the convention, and um, the last day of the con, was Sunday, and we were all waiting outside to get into the convention, and Matthew Lillard from Scream walks up and he's like giving everybody five. So he's like five, 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 and then my friend put up the Chucky's hand, right, to give five, and he goes five, five, that, and then he looks over at Chucky's hand and goes, ugh. And he pulls it back and walks away. I was like, yes, even freaking Stu Macher is afraid of Chucky. Now that would be an interesting one. Ghostface versus Chucky, you know. That would
My
be
mom.
fun because they both have like one-liners that they kind of say or whatever, right?
Oh, definitely.
Problems and people have talked about this. The problem with Scream is that there's no real set normal killer. It's not like always Billy Loomis and Stu Macher. It's like whoever gets the mask and puts it on and kills people. So doing a show like Ghostface, you'd have to literally have a reason that somebody is going around killing people in the mask and then have them run into Chucky, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, that one's a little more tough. But
I guess, but it could still work
yeah,
but it would just have to be they'd have to have Roger's voice and it have to be really, you know, like threatening, stuff like "I'm gonna gut you, Chucky," and then Chucky says
that's
something witty,
right.
to him and makes fun of him or whatever. Ha ha ha! I have no guts, like something like that.
He's is human though. They'd be scared shitless sometimes. But you never know.
As
It's a
Charles, if Charles Lee Ray was back to being human,
no, just Chucky in general. Even if I'm Ghostface and I'm a killer, if I see a killer fucking doll come alive, I mean, Scream is based in reality. I mean, our reality. There's nothing supernatural about it. So if I was a killer Ghostface and I see a killer doll, I think I'm out. You know,
it's kind of true.
I'm out.
Um, there's
Wouldn't even.
the
It's a fucking doll coming alive. I'd be scared shitless.
I just always thought like, why don't you just punt him? You know, like why don't you
Look at
just?
that
And people
ball.
try, but and he just keeps coming back, and there's that one scene with Catherine,
Heigl.
the lady from freaking Seventh Heaven.
Yeah, Catherine Heigl.
No, no, no. The one from Seventh Heaven that's in the first
Yeah,
movie, first whatever. Anyway,
never
she
mind. I know.
you know
Getting
what I'm
mixed.
talking about. But the
I
original mom, Alex Vince's his mom, and in the first
trust
Child's Play,
that.
she is like has Chucky all on her back or whatever, and then she throws him like whatever onto a fire for a second or something, and I'm like, yes, throw him into the fire and then just burn the motherfucker, you know. I don't know if that would stop him or not, but like, like the dude just keeps coming back. People just keep bringing him, you know.
Even at the end of getting a little ahead of ourselves, at the end of Bride of Chucky, he's like, he always comes back, but dying is such a bitch. I love that.
Exactly.
Getting ahead of ourselves, but he even says he always comes back.
Does he go back to hell? Like, where does he go? Because, was it
He's
Jason goes to hell.
alive and not alive.
He's
I
dead,
don't.
but he's not, or he's not dead, but he's sort of just in limbo, I guess, waiting for someone to resurrect him.
Someone always does.
I mean, that would be a cool idea too, is like a scene with I did have an idea for this once. So an idea of Chucky, Freddy, Jason, and Michael Myers playing poker in hell because they're just bored, waiting for one of them to be resurrected. You know, like,
I never really go in between, whatever. Like
yeah. I
the
mean, my idea is they go to hell and then, and then Lucifer comes over and sees one of them missing. Hey, where'd the other one go? Ah, and they went back up to Earth. Like,
that's kind of
damn it, I was gonna do some more torturing. You know, um, I guess I'll have to go to Adolf Hitler instead. Come here, Adolf. You know. See, these are like Saturday Night Live type skits, or whatever, like in my brain, not real shit that would probably ever get filmed. Because my shit's too goofy. Um, except that idea of the slasher town that Ronnie Yu should direct. That Slasherland.
real.
Ronnie
Could
Yu,
be.
make that happen. Um, if I could make that happen, I would. Um, so next is so yeah, so they kind of are on the run and they're blaming each other, to go back to the story. And they're blaming each other for whatever for the crap that just happened that they don't understand because of and like Tiffany's all happy about it because she thinks they're just so cute together, like, and everything. And Chucky's just like, ugh, get me to my body. I don't want to see the shit. And they go hold up in a hotel for the night or motel, I guess. And no, they get married. I forgot the marriage.
They get married before they go to the honeymoon suites motel. I don't always
Yeah.
forget.
But they went and got married really freaking quickly. I'm like, what is this, an Alfred Hitchcock movie? I mean, I don't know. That's a joke because Alfred Hitchcock movies always they get married like once they met each other. I'm like, good God. Like, and I get it because you don't want to spend like 20 minutes of like them hanging out or something, get to, you know what I mean? Got to jump to ahead, but I'm like at least fade out, fade in, fade out, and then three
Make it
years
seem like
later they're married. Like real life. Well, not exactly. Some people get married after the day they met each other, I guess. Maybe. There's got to be somebody that's done that. Not you and me. We've never done that. No, as far as I know, I don't know.
I don't think I'm married or anything. So
You don't think you're gonna be a one day somebody's knocked on your door, Madeline. See this ring? It's meant that we were meant. This meant that we were together.
Oops.
Um. Yeah, they got married, and then they go for their honeymoon, and there's this obnoxious couple that I'm just like, okay, they're gonna die.
Yeah, you know from the moment you meet them, they're
Yeah, and
hilarious.
who was the obnoxious couple? Because they were at least one of them was famous.
Oh,
Let me see. Was Janet Kidder? I wonder if she's related to Margot Kidder.
yeah.
I'm gonna guess not. Oh, niece of Margot Kidder. Interesting. So she's got a little horror in her blood.
Yeah,
Margot Kidder was in Black Christmas, if I'm correct.
I believe so.
Yeah. But Janet Kidder, and she was on Supernatural. But yeah, she was the obnoxious woman, and I guess the other one was Bailey, the obnoxious man. So there's Diane and Bailey, and they are these honeymooning couple too who thought they got the wrong room, I guess, and they try to get the people into like an orgy, you know?
Like swingers, but they're also just trying to rob them. So
Yeah,
I mean that's the real thing. But I think they were swingers too, probably.
they were. I mean, they would have been okay robbing them and having sex with them.
Yeah, exactly. That would have
So
just
what was that?
yeah. That would have been a little extra something for
Can I can I have the robbery and the sex together? You know? So they leave the scene of the crime and go to their hotel room where they're getting it on sort of, and and of course Chucky and Tiffany don't like them, you know,
well,
and
because they
because they what?
stole the ring. I mean, especially like Tiffany.
Yeah,
That was like
yeah. So she decides that yeah, and they both decide Chucky's just willing to kill anybody at any time, you know, like
always down.
yeah, he's the exact opposite of the poser guy in the beginning. You know, he's like, let's do this. You know, I'm ready. And they go and murder them with the ceiling or something, which I've never seen something crazy like.
Or a champagne bottle into the ceiling and all the glass or mirror, whatever glass comes out. Great kill. Movie has great kills.
I know. I mean, that was inventive. I mean, God bless the writer who's been the writer since the beginning.
Yes.
God, my brain is. I met him too. Fuck.
Fancy.
Yeah,
Don
Don
Man
Mancini.
like 3 times. But
Sorry, you're
that was
not close enough to the microphone, so sometimes I can hear you, sometimes I can't. And for some reason, I guess you're doing it from your phone, right?
damn. I need to get better equipment for the next season.
Here you go. Yeah, because the phone issue is that whenever I say something, it cuts you off, you know,
Oh,
and whenever you say something, it cuts me off. So it's there, whatever.
good to know.
No, that's it is what it is. You know, we got to deal with what we got. You know, this is what we got. Um, so yes, Don Mancini, as you said 3 times apparently. Uh, and so Don Mancini wrote the like every single Chucky script except for the reboot thingy that they
Yeah.
did, which he had nothing to do with, and you can tell that
But it's
movie.
still solid. I like the remake for
Did
what it was.
you?
It could have been called anything else. It should have been called Buddy, maybe not a Chucky movie, but I thought it was solid. I liked it.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me a little bit of like what later became Megan.
Yep,
So,
same
um,
idea.
Yeah, and so maybe Megan and Buddy or whatever his name was, have to fight each other at some point.
They should.
No. Um anyway, so uh um yeah, the kills are pretty awesome and they die and then they have to leave quickly because they don't want to be found out. So they leave the hotel and everything as quickly as possible in the morning when everything's being investigated, you know. Um, and they take off and they're about to get found out again. Another cop is, coming after them. And that's when Chucky decides to reveal himself, to the
Uh, you missed their friend. I can't think of his name.
that's right, the friend, because they were both complaining to him and thinking that like the other one was the murderer. And so yeah, I forgot what the friend's name was. He had been in some stuff before, I think, too.
Yeah.
Um, his real name's Gordon Michael Wolvitt. He played David in this. He's been in like Andromeda. He was in the Guild for one episode. That's pretty cool. Um, I don't know if you ever watched that. That's like a YouTube show or something.
I bet, but I haven't watched it.
He was in an episode of the old Twilight Zone, not the old like the first beginning, but like the 2002 one. He was in Supernatural. Was this filmed in Canada?
I do not know.
I'm gonna guess it is because yeah, he's Canadian and huh. I'm gonna find this out real quick. Because yeah, countries of origin, United States and Canada.
I didn't know that.
It's
Not
interesting.
Packaging Jersey though.
Yeah, yeah, not Jersey at all. Um, all Canada. In Toronto,
They do.
Ontario, Niagara Falls,
Gonna say they do go past Niagara Falls.
Los Angeles at one point. So I guess probably somewhere, but how? It's crazy. I never thought of this as a Canadian. Canada does a lot of times work for like New Jersey or those things, and but the only reason I knew that was because once I saw Supernatural from him and the other person, I was like, okay, that's Canada, So I'm like wondering if these guys are from this was actually shot and people were auditioning in Canada. So awesome, you know. Uh, I like my Canadian mates up there, in the north, getting some love. I actually do love it when films get shot up there, Makes me kind of jealous because I want to go up there, but I don't know, just just haven't crossed that border yet. Have you?
Yeah, when I was younger, we used to go to Niagara Falls like every year almost. Before you needed the passport,
Oh
you know.
wow. Yeah, it's a little crazier now.
Yeah, and even like school trips, we went to Quebec and Toronto. So
Mm.
sucks that you
Wow.
need a
What was that?
sucks you need a passport now. But what are you gonna do?
I mean, I can get a passport, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. You know
That's
what
what
I
you're
mean?
gonna do. Um, so yeah, so they meet this guy, they bring the guy there, or he shows up and he travels with them, and then he finds the dead body. And that's right, that's what brings the attention to the cop though later because um I think that they dropped his body out or something,
Yeah, David finds the yeah guy's body, and they reveal themselves, and David like kind of backs up, and he gets hit by a truck,
Yep.
and I they must dump John Ritter's body or something. Take off, and they need new wheels, so they get the RV.
Yeah, because cops are coming after him, and they did actually attack the cops too, or whatever. And
But like
uh,
says, "Oh, we're here" when he sees a cop after he sees John Ritter.
exactly. And then yeah, so then the cop comes after them. They kill those people, and then or at least I think they attack the cops, like they shoot the cops or something, or whatever. And then they go on. They drop. They get a new car. They keep going. Now all of a sudden, or it's not a car. It's like a Winnebago, and they're in the Winnebago, and it is sort of interesting because then you see sort of Tiffany as this like homemaker making stuff, and Chucky being the kind of asshole, and Katherine Heigl's tied up, and the other guy, Nick Stabile or whatever, is driving, and they get the idea to turn those two against each other, so that they can attack. Thought that was great.
Doesn't take much to turn them against each other, which it's just like, oh, he won't clean. That's the least he could do. Oh, she ain't much of a cleaner or whatever, and it's like, oh, there you go, throwing
Yep.
plates at.
And just they get all angry at each other, and they start throwing stuff, and then Katherine Heigl kicks uh Tiffany out, right? Like she kicks her somewhere
Then
in the oven. That's right. And then Chucky tries to attack or whatever, and I think the Winnebago goes off the road or
yep,
whatever,
crashes.
and they like all kind of like sort of fly out and other stuff, and yeah, I mean, we're coming to the end, man, which is nuts because this movie was pretty short, for a horror film. Well, it's in the 90's. Movies were an hour and 30 minutes. They did not become like, what?
Not anymore. They're all 2.5 hours.
Did you know that the new Snow White movie is 2 hours and 50 minutes long right now or something like that? Like
Wait, an
some
hour and
ridiculous.
50 minutes.
2 hours. And
Hours and 50
I think
minutes.
it's 2 hours and 45. So it's like close to 2 hours and 50. They're cutting it down to 2 hours and 20. And I'm like, even
That's
if you
still
cut it down to 2 hours and 20 minutes, what kid is gonna go to a theater to watch a movie like that? They're gonna be bored out of their mind. Oh man, that Disney movie, that movie is.
movie is going to be a
They need to
whatever.
put that on. They need to put it on Disney Plus or bury it. Like just get rid of it. It's just
Uh, I get rid of it. People worked hard on it, but kind of fucked down.
people worked hard on it, but they're deleting stuff, and they're like, I mean, that
I
things are.
haven't followed it that
I'll
much.
tell you more about it. I don't want to talk about it on the air because it's not has to do with Bride of Chucky. I mean, Disney does not own Bride of Chucky. Universal does, and but anywho, so Disney's Bride of Chucky. Now that would have been interesting.
No. I mean, it would be interesting.
Who would play Chucky? I don't want to go through this. Chris Pratt, you know. Um,
No,
it's funny. So in the rest of this, so to finish it off, I guess they're really close to where the grave actually is and everything. They finally get to it and everything. I think there's a lot of like there's some fighting and other stuff going on, and they finally, Chucky kind of gets the upper hand, and he needs it. But they're because of all of this news and the fact that uh they find something with his print, with Charles Lee Ray's print, right?
yeah, they find his fingerprints.
They find his fingerprints at the motel, and they start thinking somehow he's alive. So they decide to go excavate his body or whatever, take his body out. I'm like, he's dead. Like, you
Yeah.
guys
They're
buried
trying to,
him.
I guess, see if he's actually dead since they found his fingerprints. I mean, other than him being a killer doll, how would his fingerprints be there? Unless someone, like, I guess, stole his fingers and put them there or something. I really don't know.
Maybe that's what they were looking for, to see if his fingers were
Yeah.
removed.
Uh, but I mean, he's been dead for 10 years or 20 years because
No, well, no, it was 1988.
this one came out in 98.
Yeah, so about 10 years. So you've been gone for 10 years. Because it I think it does take place in 88 when the original came out, and this came out in 98. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think it was 10 years later. Um and so yeah, so what's his Chucky and
Tiffany?
uh Tiffany are kind of fighting still, but they're trying to find the stuff and get the amulet and whatnot. And uh the other two,
Tiffany is burnt to a crisp, so.
yeah, one point she gets burnt to a crisp because of the explosion and everything from the oven and everything. Um and I mean, she looks like death. And Chucky is just ready to, ready to try to get, his body into the soul, but uh Tiffany helps them out and everything and whatnot. And then, of course, your favorite line of, you know, the death, you know,
Yeah.
and dying and stuff. What was the line exactly?
He says, I always come back, but dying is such a bitch.
Exactly. So
He
he knows he knows he'll be
told
back.
me, but I always come back.
Oh, we forgot to mention they bang. They do bang.
Yeah, we did forget to mention that they bang.
They banged earlier, and that
Know that.
really that sets up later for
Oh
the
yeah, for the
fact
ending.
that her her rotting corpse of a face and everything, and all of a sudden you hear like, and she's pregnant. I'm like, I guess dolls can just get pregnant and have a baby like that, because it's
Don't
not.
overthink it.
If you try to explain this to somebody who's not into horror, they'd be like, "What the fuck?" This is why I don't like horror. Doesn't make any sense. So yeah, so the baby comes out and it's what? The seed of Chucky, which
Yeah.
sets up for the sequel for the next one, which I always liked that they did that, as far as Don Mancini always sort of set the next one up, or
Yeah.
whatever. It took a while before after Seed of Chucky, because I think that did fairly poor, in ratings and
Yeah.
everything.
I remember seeing that in the theater, Seed of Chucky. I didn't get to see Bride of Chucky in the theater, but I saw Seed.
You saw Seed of Chucky in the theater. And that's a
When I
2000 movie, so we can't do that for 90s horror.
was.
If we do it for horror film lovers, I'll invite you back so we
Oh
can talk about,
yeah.
yeah. Apparently this was Brad Dourif's personal favorite Child's Play movie until Curse of Chucky.
Oh, and Toll Curse of Chucky?
Yep, that was released, and then I guess that was his favorite.
Oh, I like Curse of Chucky.
I like it. It's a different. It becomes like, because
He becomes serious after being so goofy for.
Freddie had that problem too. Freddie got too many one-liners, and Eli Roth has said this about Cabin, when he was making Cabin Fever, he wanted to make sure it wasn't a serial killer that, goes around making, I'm gonna knife you later, like jokes and stuff, where it's just like, just pun after pun after pun and stuff. And Freddy and Chucky are the two wisecracking villains that we have. Like, until Ghostface, but Ghostface wasn't wisecracking.
He's not. Yeah,
He's just mean.
exactly.
It was like, I'm gonna gut you like a fish, like I did your mother.
Yeah,
Do you want to die? Your mother sure didn't. Like,
yeah.
dude. I've never told this story, I don't think, but I remember being in my bus in high school when the movie came out. I had to ride the bus because I was a loser. In school and stuff. And so I'm on the bus and this girl, April, I won't say her last name, but April, I loved her to death. She was like, uh, somebody said, you owe me. And she goes, I don't owe you shit. You owe my mother. That was the line and scream. And I got it right there when she said it, and I laughed so hard, you know, um, because I want to say that next time somebody goes, you owe me. I owe you shit. You owe my mother. But anyway, oh man, I don't know what that chick's up to these days, but she's probably married, has kids, has a life. Fuck, man.
Yeah.
And here I am on podcast still talking about this shit like
Wrong with that.
30 years later. God, has it been? It's almost been 30 years. Yeah, 2026 will be 30 years of Scream. Can you believe
That's
that?
Scream 3, I think, was the first R-rated movie I saw in the theater, I think. Might have
Scream,
been that or Final Destination. Scream 3.
Scream 3.
That or Final Destination, I think. One of those two.
What was the first one I ever saw? I'm trying to remember. Good God. Because I don't think I really watched that many rated R movies in the theater when I was a kid, you know? Um, and so I was trying to think I know I watched Bulletproof, the Adam Sandler movie with Damon Wayans.
I've never seen
Um,
that.
I don't know. That can't be the first rated R movie I ever saw. I mean, that's one of the earlier ones because I saw it with my cousin. My cousin used to went to the college that was right by me, so he would pick me up, and then we'd go by the college and look at all the hot college girls that are just like sunbathing and shit outside during the
Uh,
summer. And then we would go straight to the movies and we'd watch like Billy Madison,
yeah.
Bulletproof, the Jerky Boys movie. I remember going to those movies with them and stuff, and it was a lot of fun, man. But now once again, he's married, has kids, has a kid, it's a life. He doesn't watch this stuff with me anymore. It's okay. Um, so I wanted to bring up a couple things. Let's see, what was the? All right, so the budget was 25 million. It's actually pretty low, you know.
It is actually, yeah.
Sadly, it's only grossed 32 million, which means it basically was people go, oh, that's not a flop, that's a flop. Really, you have to make at least double what your budget is in order for it to be a success. So, I'm
Yeah.
surprised that they kind of greenlit Seed of Chucky. Let's see how bad Seed of Chucky did, because that kind of
I don't like
killed
Seed,
Chucky for a while.
unfortunately. Because
Yeah.
it's underrated as hell. I love Seed of Chucky.
I just like the character's name's Glenn or Glinda, kind
Yeah.
of thing. But
Yeah. And John Waters is in it, so.
all right, so the next budget was 12 million. So
Oh, they
they
really.
went down, and I think they did that so that they could make sure they at least got their um yeah, so what was the gross?
For their budget, I mean, look at all they did. They got all the puppets and everything. I mean, they made plus. I
Right.
mean, see some bigger, big people on it
So
ish. I guess.
worldwide it made 24 million. 24,829,644. So that means it may double its budget, but that's it, you know,
Don't
which
know.
which I'm sure it's still making money. I mean, it's on Peacock, so I
I
don't
think
know.
it found its audience later on. People kind of look back on it and enjoy it more than they might have when they first saw it.
So back in the day, in the 90's, there was a little thing called video stores, and people would go and rent these movies because they would not see them in the theater or something. Or maybe they would see them in the theater and they'd go rent them. But most of the time they would go, what's new in the video store? Oh, what's this Bride of Chucky? Ah, I didn't get to see this. Let me go grab it. And those became bigger hits than what you think. So I have a feeling that even though it didn't make it really big in the theater, I bet it did in home video, which did cause them to go, okay, let's make Seed of Chucky, but let's just scale it back to 12 million instead of 25 million. And then they made pretty much 24 million, which the last one of Bride of Chucky made 32 million. So it it did less than Bride of Chucky did, but still made more,
Yep.
because of the budget was less. Um,
Budget.
yeah, that's the thing people don't realize nowadays when they're spending $200 million on a movie and everything, and then they're like, we have to make $1 billion in order to really,
Yeah.
make something. And you get movies like Barbie, which is great, because it definitely got people together and it got, you know what I mean? It did something that a lot of people um and I love that, but um that was a fluke, man. Like that did not seem like it was going to happen. It's almost like a certain president becoming president. Did not seem like that was ever going to happen, and it did. And there are these flukes. Sharknado becoming the hit that it
Yeah. No
became.
one ever would have thought that would have happened.
No, I
No.
remember the day I was interviewing Thunder 11, the day that like it got released, and everything. And I was interviewing him. He was on Good Morning America, that day and everything. And I'm walking around the store trying to buy some groceries, and I hear the people in front of me, this, nice old black lady saying, "Have you seen that Sharknado movie that's coming out tonight? That looks great." And I'm like, "Holy shit. We got a hit on our hands."
Oh yeah.
Like Elizabeth Banks is talking about it, tweeting about it, like, "Oh my God, this Sharknado movie looks silly." I'm like, "Oh my God, what the hell is gonna happen here?" You know? And it made me feel good because I love the asylum. I really do. I
So do
think
I.
they need to focus more on those type of movies, bringing back silly movies. I know you posted something about watching was it Six-Headed Shark Attack the other night.
I did, yeah. Which I love six-headed shark attack. You got a
I-
shark that's using four of its heads to walk and the other heads to eat. It's fucking hilarious. And that's the type of shit they need to do.
right. They need to
Kill it.
stop all of this like serious shit and stuff.
Yeah. People
Um,
trapped in the middle of the ocean and blah blah blah. Stop. Just
it's
make ridiculous.
boring. It's boring. I was in one that I was just like watching it. I was like, it was fun being in it, you know,
Yeah.
and but even then, so I'll tell you this story real quick. I was in the movie Collision Earth, and it was because my
Oh yeah.
friend Jarrett, first, who is the line producer, had asked me like the day of if I could come in and have a part and be a production assistant. And I said, yeah, sure. And it was on my birthday too, January 12th, 2020. Best day of my life. Came in there, had a total blast, met Eric Roberts, met one girl who later became a really close friend of mine, Mackenzie. We all had a great time. It was a blast. Um, then I watched the movie and I'm like, yeah, I can kind of see it because like they gave me lines the day of that were very like all, military jargon, and stuff I just could not remember for the life of me. So somebody
Yeah.
else took all the lines because they were the writer and they could get all, Joe, he could just say all the lines, for, that I would have said and everything. And I was fine with that. Like I did not have a problem. I'm not an actor. Like I do it for fun or like, in my own movies and stuff. And like I don't set myself up to sound like that, but anyway, so watching this movie going, man, it's kind of boring. Like I don't like movies where it's mostly military speak. And then I watched another movie of his, or a movie of the Asylums. It's another military movie. And I'm like, can we get out of this like phase we're in right now of like everybody
Yeah.
doing like military stuff? Is this really selling because of that? I don't think so. Like the movies that do well and get you acclaim is the is Six-Headed Shark Attack, you
Yep.
know, Sharknado, um, Boa, well, not Boa, was the Mega Python
I guess.
versus Gatoroid, you know,
Yeah.
make more movies like that. And I don't know if it's like they're just it's just easy to do the other stuff, you know. I mean, how many times have they made here's another joke. So I think because I was doing a podcast, my Independent Corner, my old podcast, and I interviewed a bunch of the people. And I had one episode, I believe it was called like The Lovely Ladies of the Asylum. And I had all the people back in 2010, 9, whatever. No, maybe 7 or 8. But I had like, Kristen Quintrall and Shaylee Scott and a bunch of them. I like all these beautiful women who came on my show, chatted with me. I just felt like I was the king, right? And one of the jokes, and Justin Jones was on it, and he was the director of. They were shooting the movie for the. This is how long ago it was. They were shooting the movie The Apocalypse. I don't know if you ever saw that
Oh,
movie,
I haven't.
but they said it was about. I was like, The Apocalypse. It sounds kind of normal. Like that sounds like something that everybody, right? I was like, what is it about? And they're like, oh, it's about meteors attacking the Earth and killing people. I go, you should call it Meteor Apocalypse. They said, oh, that would have been great, but we already, marketed it, blah, blah, blah. All right. Years later, there's another movie called Meteor Apocalypse.
Oh wow.
Because I think they also had another movie they were making called Meteor. And I was like, they should have called Meteor Apocalypse. And then they made a movie called Meteor Apocalypse. So,
Put them
and
together.
I don't think I had anything to do with that. I think literally what happened was they were trying to figure out another movie that's the same thing of like whatever meteors come to Earth and kill people, So Meteor, or they did the Apocalypse, which was supposed to be like everybody vanished, it was supposed to be left behind. Um,
Oh
which
yeah.
works because today isn't today
The Rapture
the
tonight, right?
Rapture just today. So get ready.
Night or I don't know.
Happening in 40 minutes from
Yeah.
now, 12 o'clock. Unless it's 12 o'clock Pacific, then it's going to be 3 o'clock and I'll probably be in bed by then,
I'll be in bed.
you know. But anyway, but it was basically the rapture. It was like people getting sucked up into heaven or at least disappearing and stuff. Man, I feel like I want to watch This Is the End
Oh,
tonight.
that's a great movie. Saw that in
Shame, you saw that in the theaters?
yeah, I did. So good. So funny.
I don't know if
Michael
that's
Cera is so funny in it.
well, yeah, because
They
he's
all
just
are, but he was his cameo or whatever role was so fucking funny.
James, who was the one asking him about Michael Cera's butt? Like how precious was his butt or
It's
something like
been
that?
a while since I've seen it, honestly.
I watched it, I don't know, maybe a couple months ago or something, you know. It is a funny movie, like but it's exactly like what Hollywood should as a comedy should do about the apocalypse. Like how do you handle the apocalypse if that's happening? Um but with the hell dogs and the hole, and everything, and you just
Yeah.
like, Kevin Smith wanted to do the apocalypse at one point for his movie Red State. Well, he made a mention of it is like, it's like another ending to Red State, but it would have cost him like another 10 million to just do it or something like
Oh,
something ridiculous like amount of money to do it because it would cost a lot of money to do the apocalypse. Guarantee you it
yeah.
costs. his movies are cheap,
Yeah.
and just like this movie, Bride of Chucky wasn't cheap. Seed of Chucky was cheap, or so the cheaper the movie you are, the cheaper the movie is, and the better chance you're going to get on the box office. So Blumhouse knows this, you know. That's why their movies are like $1 million to start with. And then once it becomes a franchise, like the sequel is like 10 million or 5 million or whatever, it's
Yeah,
more
they know.
money. Yeah. But because we were doing for mainstream Monday, we're doing Paranormal Activity, and that is I mean, I don't they weren't ever thinking that it would become that big.
No.
Um,
Yeah.
when Oren Peli was making it, I'm sure he was just like, fun. Like I'm just having fun with,
Exactly.
making a
Seems-
movie, and it blew up. So, anywho, this is wow. So that was it, right? We got through all of Bride of Chucky, right? Like there was nothing else there. Um, who's your favorite character in this movie?
I mean, Chucky.
Chucky. You don't like Tiffany?
I love Tiffany. I love all the characters, actually. I think they're
I
all great.
I
I like
didn't.
that stoner who sees Chucky crawling, and whenever Chucky's crawling and he's like kind of shaking his butt whenever he puts the sorry, I'm like getting ahead of myself. Whenever he's killing the one cop and he puts the rag and like the whatever gas,
Yeah,
whatever. And he's like, rude fucking doll.
yeah.
I mean, I would
Rude
almost say he's my favorite character in one scene. But
isn't
that
one
part
thing.
always made me laugh. He's so funny. And the way, like, after the car explodes, he's like hiding his head. So funny.
Well, it's sort of yeah, it's sort of kind of a callback to the first movie when Chucky's in the elevator, and those people are like,
Yeah,
"Ew, ugly doll." Like, don't get
yeah.
near it, don't touch it, blah blah blah, right? And they leave, and he's like, "Fuck you." Just I love that. Like, I loved I think that was the thing. Like, the first movie had a little bit of humor, but was more serious and stuff. Then this is Nightmare on Elm Street, like redo,
Pretty much.
because the second one it got a little bit more comedic. Third one, it was starting to really get comedic, and then by the fourth one, which in Freddy's
Or
Freddy's world, wow, I didn't even think of how much it like modeled after, except for the yeah, wait. So the fourth one was Bride of Chucky.
hmm.
Fifth one was Seed of Chucky. And
Yeah,
sixth one must be Curse of Chucky.
yeah,
Seventh is Cult of Chucky.
yeah.
And then we got the series, or whatever. So yeah, so the sixth one or wait, the fourth one is Bride of Chucky. So that was like was a Nightmare on Elm Street 4, where it got really silly and goofy, and he's just doing one-liners and being silly and everything.
Yeah,
And then
Dream Master and then Dream Child and Freddy's Dead is where it really went. I love Freddy's Dead. It really went off the rails comedy.
yeah, yeah, with him
He's
playing
like,
the
now
video
I'm
game,
playing with power.
yeah, the Power Glove, you know,
Yeah,
the Power
ice
Freddy
from
Glove.
Carlos, all that shit. So good.
Yeah, and he was making him bump up and down and bump his head
Fucking,
and
I love it. I love it.
yeah, that's great. No, it's a classic. Was that like in 3D or something?
It had like the sequence near the end when they're like going through Freddy's brain in 3D. It was only like one part of the movie, not the whole thing.
Kind of like Jaws 3D, where really there's only one scene in Jaws 3D that's big is the him going through the thing and attacking, you know.
The
I've never
great.
actually seen it in 3D
Okay.
with 3D glasses. Like I've never, it never worked for me, you know. Um but yeah, and then for I'm surprised more companies didn't do that after it was three, because like Friday the 13th part of three was 3D, you know?
All 3D.
Scream 3D, you know.
That never happened.
What?
Too bad they never did a Scream in 3D.
Well, if they did Scream 3 in 3D, I think it would have been a better movie. Because I literally, that's like my one of my least favorites. Now that the new ones come in, uh, it's kind of hard. I'm not huge into the new ones, you know.
I like
Um,
them, but yeah.
I just treat them as like they're like a different universe because they're not even like they're barely Woodsboro is mentioned, and it's not, it's not about Woodsboro anymore. It's about which I think is kind of sad. It was like when they did the MTV Scream show,
I
which,
haven't. I should watch it.
well, the first season is gonna make you pissed off, but I heard like the second and third season get better. Um, First season is just not very it's not very fun, you know? Like it's more like they have the Scream thing a little bit. It feels like a Scream ripoff than a Scream spinoff, you know?
Did it.
And there's no mention of Woods Worlds, no nothing to connect to the movies. So like literally this could be any movie or any TV show that's basically a Scream knockoff, or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, but I am excited to check out the series for Child's Play or for Chucky. It's Chucky now because Child's Play is, I guess, owned by the company or whatever that did it and stuff. But
Oh yeah, I think you're right.
but they stopped calling it Child's Play after the third one anyway. It all became like Bride of Chucky, Seed of Chucky, Cult of Chucky, everything Chucky.
Exactly.
So, which is good. Um, I That's how they market it because Chucky is really what Child's
Chucky's
Play,
yeah. He's the face of the franchise.
literally the face of it. Um,
Yeah.
but let me see here, hold on. So yeah, um, so where can you see Chucky? All
Oh,
right,
on Peacock.
it's on Peacock. Okay,
Yep.
cool. I just re-upped my thing for Peacock. I spent 12 fucking dollars so I wouldn't have to watch goddamn commercials, you know.
Oh, screw that. I'll watch the commercials.
You'll watch the commercials for $6 or whatever, like $6
Yeah.
off. That's
Pounds.
fair. I may go under and do back to six if I feel like I don't need to spend extra six. But
I
I'm
do the
like,
same tax. I pay for commercials. I don't care. I'm not paying more. They don't play many commercials anyway.
well, at Disney Plus, their rates are going up, so I'm gonna be paying like 13, $14, something like that for the with no commercials and stuff. And just because, I don't know. I like what I'm watching Ahsoka right now, so I I don't want to see commercials during that. That'll be annoying. That's the one thing I don't like about Tubi is like I
Yeah.
could watch an hour and 55 movie and it'll take me 3 hours to watch it, you know. So
Mhm.
anywho, I just once again thank you so much for this season. This season has been awesome. We've had some great moments. We had some great movies. I don't know exactly what I'm picking yet for the next season. Season three is coming up in January, guys. So it's not too far along. It feels longer than it sounds longer than it is, whenever you're saying
It's
January.
actually not. Time's moving so friggin' quick.
I know. January well, I'm scared about that because I'll be in California, visiting California in January, you know.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I already got my plane ticket booked, but I'm going up to Bakersfield first. Well, most of the time I'll be in Bakersfield with my former roommate Jackie, and then on my birthday, we're planning to go down to Los Angeles for the night, or for the day or whatever. Actually, basically 2 days because we'll be back up on Saturday night, so Friday morning to Saturday night, and then we're gonna just, I gotta go see some bushes. That sounds really weird, but There was one thing we didn't get to do before I left. And I said, I mean, when I come back to LA, we got to do this. So we're going down to Pasadena, where we used to live. I used to live like right by Pasadena, and we're gonna go to the bushes that are in Halloween, and I get to take a
Oh, that's
picture.
cool.
I'm gonna take
Oh,
a
that's
picture like looking, like I'm
yeah,
Michael Myers, like right next to the bushes. So
that's awesome.
yeah, we got to go to a lot of the other. We got to go to the Michael Myers house, which has moved. Yeah, I don't know if you knew that or not,
Oh, I
but
didn't.
they literally moved it to a different part of Pasadena, and so it is and it's not and it's like a real estate office. So, now. So it's a house still. It's still the house. But
Yeah,
so you walk up and you go there and you're like, "Oh my God, it's the freaking Michael Myers house." So you knock on it and somebody will come out with a mask. And I didn't know this, but I was ringing the doorbell because thinking, maybe somebody's there, right? And
yeah.
somebody comes out with the Michael Myers mask and just stares down the hall at you. And I guess it's supposed to scare people, but for me, I was
Yeah,
like, "Come down! I want to meet
exactly.
you." Because it's not real. Because or whatever. I don't think it's real. Maybe Michael Myers
I
still
hope
does
not.
live there.
You never know.
Is he a real estate guy now? Jesus.
Oh, he's been around a while. Maybe he finally got a job.
I mean, yeah, he's back in Haddonfield, aka Pasadena. So I got to go there, and then we got to go to the other house of one of the other ones in Pasadena. We got to go to the Scream 2 uh theater. You
Oh,
know?
that's awesome.
Yeah, so we got to walk down there and it was really neat. It was like really cool. It looked just like it, except I think they have a different name. Like they didn't use the real name, they changed the name as a fictional name or whatever, I think. I could be wrong. But we went down there, that was pretty neat. And then we went to the other Michael. There was a house in Halloween that was like one of the babysitters' houses or whatever or something, or maybe the Strode house. I think it was the Strode house. So you went there and they had nothing but pumpkins outside. And this was in like the winter, and stuff past fall and everything. Like I think even springtime. I think it was like around spring. They had pumpkins outside, and I thought that was pretty neat. And before then, Jackie, myself, well, no, myself and Vincent Pereira, who's like the Kevin Smith historian, Fusque historian, and I hung out, and he was staying at a place on Sunset, right by where um the two. Okay, so there's this one road where you're walking down Haddonfield, and you get to see like the the two kids' house,
Yeah.
they're actually right across the street from each other and stuff down this road. Then you cross the highway of Sunset. You're literally like right across, and you're in Elm Street. You're down Elm Street.
Oh, that's so awesome.
So you go down there and you see the house for what is it um Heather Langenkamp, Nancy's house, and
Yeah,
right across the street from Nancy's house is Johnny Depp's house, his character's house. You know,
that's
like
so
not his
cool.
house, but like his character's house.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Where when she was like looking
Neighbors in
across
the
the
movie.
street,
Yeah,
that was literally right across the street from each other.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so Glenn's house. So you get to see both of them. And unfortunately now somebody gave us a sneak peek. Um, the Nancy house, whoever just bought it, completely changed the look of it. Is changing it, and they're kind of putting up gates around so nobody can come in and things
Uh,
like that, which kind of sucks. But A, I'm
I
glad I
get.
got to see it before. But
Yeah,
uh, B, I get it. You know, like
definitely.
I totally understand. Like I wouldn't want people like coming to my house and just taking pictures every
Ex-
day. That'd be annoying. You know. It's just I wouldn't buy that house unless because it's not like somebody goes, oh, there's nothing wrong with, there's nothing to talk about in this house. This house, whatever, right? You know, like if you even look it up on like the address on Google, it nothing but Michael Myers stuff pops up, or not Mike, Freddy stuff pops up. So,
Yeah,
there's no way those people did not know that they were buying like a legacy house. And
exactly.
why
Should have
wouldn't
been a
you,
museum,
right, make it a museum or
like they
not
did
buy it? Was it?
the Christmas Story house. That's a museum in Cleveland.
Yeah, well, they
One of them.
actually did do it as the other owners before these new owners, or one of the other owners, did make it into sort of a place where people can come visit and stuff and check it out. And they left it sort of exactly like it. But, you know, it is what it is. These people wanted
Yeah,
to live there. And I mean, it honestly, if you were just walking by that neighborhood, you would not know it's Elm Street. It's not like I have a video up on which is Elm Street, like our trip to Elm Street, I guess it was what it was called. And it was just us walking down Elm Street and stuff and just talking, like skipping and joking and having fun before we got to see the two houses and stuff. And that's, to me, it's pretty neat,
yeah, no,
experience and everything. That's why I miss like living in LA, because you could do that like anytime you felt bored. Here in
yeah,
Virginia, you really don't really have that. So, and California and LA has so many I still want to go check out. Like I want to check out the Terminator 2. I think I saw it, and I'm not sure, but the Terminator 2 area where uh Terminator jumped off his motorcycle and landed and caught the kid and everything like that and
yeah,
stuff from the
yeah,
truck.
yeah.
Those like little areas and stuff. But I think I was there, but I'm not sure. So I never double checked. But I'd love to go places like that. So
Yeah,
well,
definitely.
I think we've talked your guys' ears off enough today. And once again, join us in January. This is going to be a lot of fun this season. I already heard hers. I'm gonna try to already come up with some ideas and float it past Maddie here and see what she has to think about these titles. Some that are most likely a lot of them are going to be found on Tubi, and stuff, so people can
That's
follow us
where we
along. But
watch them.
what?
That's where we usually watch stuff.
I know. I mean, this one you can watch on Peacock. I didn't even know you had Peacock, so that's great.
Yeah, I
Um,
got to keep with my cable, well, not cable, internet. So
okay, so what else do you have?
I have Peacock, Max, Hulu, but I'm having trouble getting into Hulu. Netflix,
You know what? My friend,
like
my former roommate, she's been having trouble because me and her do it, and I
figure
think
out what's
they're
going on with Hulu.
I think they're kicking people off after a while and then making you have to re-sign in and stuff. It's just a bitch.
Yeah, figure that out. But I have most of the stuff except for Disney Plus.
You don't have Disney Plus?
I don't watch a lot of that. I mean, I'm not into Star Wars or Marvel. I feel like that's
But
the
you don't
main
like the
reason.
Disney cartoons or anything?
I'm not.
Okay. Well, if you're not into that.
Like the Lion King and all that old stuff, but overall, yeah, not super. I want to watch it.
Yeah, well, I didn't grow up on Disney because we didn't have it growing up. Like it was part of
Yeah.
like the premium cable, so you
Oh
couldn't
yeah, us too.
yeah, so
I'd
you
like
had to
the
pay
stuff.
money and my parents were like, "We're not paying money for that." And I was
Yeah.
like, "But it making me watch all the cool." I don't think there was anything cool on Disney back when I was a kid. Um it didn't unless you watched like the Wonderful World of Disney,
Mhm.
stuff, which had like Mr. Boogedy and things like
Yeah.
that. Those things, and I could find those somewhere or another, like, but uh, when it became like free for, if you just got your satellite, it just became part of the package. I'd watch it. And I was like, I mean, because then by that time. it was like Hannah Montana and things like that. And I'm
Yeah,
like, I'm a little too old for this. I feel really
exactly.
creepy watching these little kids, whatever, right? Like, because they were little kids, back then. So it just feels weird watching children stuff like that when you're an adult. I still watch my old shows like Boy Meets World and everything, but that's more
Oh
of along
yeah.
the lines of like that was
TV
part of my
comfort.
life growing up, like still sticks with me. But yeah, I watched TGIF instead and Snick instead of so I watched Nickelodeon instead of Disney, you know. Um but anyway, yeah. So I still like my Disney Plus because yeah, I'm into Marvel, but I'm also into
Yeah.
the Disney stuff and not these stupid remakes, Snow White. sh- Get down to maybe 2 hours. It's fine. But
Yeah. No more than 2 hours.
yeah, but God, that's just too long. Why? Kids don't like that. They don't have the attention span.
No, they don't.
Like they're gonna be so bored. Like, oh, can I leave? I guess it won't matter because they already have your money. You can't be
I
like,
guess they're. I think they're really going after people who grew up on Disney, maybe like
but
instead
even
of.
then, those people don't want to watch it for
Oh,
two
I
hours.
know, but like whatever. I don't know what they're doing. So
Nobody knows I don't think they know what they're doing.
yeah, I
They're
don't
just,
think so
they're winging
either.
it, trying to figure it out. Whatever works, works. Will this work? No. Okay, let's try something else.
Yeah,
We love you, Disney, but sort your fucking life out, please.
pretty much.
All right, well, thank you guys for checking us out. Join us in January for a brand new season 3. It's gonna be a crazy season. I'm excited, and till then, everybody, bye.